Your students' health and safety abroad is important to us, as we know it is to you. The following information will help you and your student prepare for a healthy, safe experience abroad. IES Abroad is a leader in student health, safety, and crisis management. IES Abroad has a very strong safety record, and our experienced staff strives to maintain a superior level of performance and service. We have an extensive global crisis management team to respond to a variety of incidents around the world. Each IES Abroad Center also has a detailed crisis management plan that includes general emergency procedures and provides guidelines to address specific types of emergencies. For example, IES Abroad students in Japan receive specific information during orientation about how to respond in the event of an earthquake due to the prevalence of earthquakes in Japan. During orientation, IES Abroad Center staff discusses this plan as well as general and country-specific safety issues with students. Students are also given contact information for staff whom they can contact in the case of an emergency 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Parents can expect to hear from us via email when a crisis occurs that may affect your student. We can and do respond on a 24/7 basis when crises arise. When a crisis that has potential to affect the health and safety of all IES Abroad students in a given location, IES Abroad contacts parents to inform them of the situation and to share with them what safety precautions have been shared with the students. Parents of students abroad can also contact IES Abroad staff in the U.S. in the case of a health or safety emergency. 24-hour emergency contact information can be obtained by calling the main IES Abroad phone number, 800-995-2300. Petty crime like pickpocketing can be common abroad. Because pickpocketing is rare outside of larger cities in the United States, many American students don't know what precautions to take abroad. IES Abroad describes various steps that students can take to avoid being the victim of pickpocketing. These steps are outlined in numerous publications, including the Student Handbook and your online pre-departure information. In locations where pickpocketing is common, IES Abroad staff also gives students extensive instructions in how to safeguard their belongings. Please encourage your student to read the published precautions and to pay special attention to instructions during orientation, which may include use of money belts or pouches to carry cash and important documents like photo IDs and credit cards. If using a wallet, carry it in the front pocket. If using a purse, make sure that it is securely closed and, if possible, carried across the body. Pay attention to one's surroundings, especially when on public transportation, which is where many pickpocketings occur. Have more than one way to access funds at all times. For example, having an emergency credit or ATM card stored in housing as a potential replacement should other cards be lost or stolen. Keep photocopies of all ATM, credit cards, and photo IDs in student housing and with their family at home in the event that such items need to be replaced quickly. Because IES Abroad is first and foremost committed to student safety and security, we require all students to have a cellular phone while enrolled in our programs. It is the responsibility of each student to acquire a cell phone either in the host country within the first week of arrival or in the United States prior to departure. Students are expected to have their cell phone with them, charged, and turned on at all times on the program, including when traveling outside of their host country location. Some students use their cell phones only for emergencies, while others use them daily for contacting friends in the program. Some U.S. cell phone companies that provide service abroad are priced for emergency usage rather than casual everyday use. IES Abroad encourages students and their families to explore multiple options and select a provider that best meets the student's individual usage needs. Many students obtain a cell phone locally after arrival to the program and use it exclusively for local daily use and rely on services such as Skype for keeping in contact with family and friends in the United States. High cell phone bills are a reality when using cell phones outside of the U.S., especially without careful regard for roaming, per minute, and text charges. Students and their families should be aware that cell phone rates vary considerably by location and provider. Most cell phone rates are much more expensive outside of the U.S. This is particularly the case when a student is roaming outside of the normal calling area. Most cell plans abroad do not work similarly to plans in the U.S. They are usually billed on a per minute or partial minute basis and per text message. Students are urged to be especially cautious if they elect to use additional services such as text messaging or web services through their cell phones while abroad, as these are often very costly. There are 3 basic options your student has when obtaining a cell phone for their program. 1. Obtaining a cell phone on site. Students are welcome to obtain a cell phone once they arrive at their program location. IES Abroad staff may be able to give students some guidance on where to look for cell phones and service providers, but staff cannot choose or negotiate plans for students. Students will need to negotiate the best terms and conditions for cell service on their own. 2. Using a SIM card. Students should also investigate if their current U.S. cell phone will accept a SIM card abroad. This is frequently a low-cost alternative to buying or renting a cell phone abroad. IES Abroad is not able to provide technical support or recommendations for cell service or phones. Contact your student's cell phone provider to determine if your student's current phone is compatible with using a SIM card abroad. And 3. Obtaining a cell phone in the United States. Students interested in obtaining cell phone service while still in the U.S. may work with a third-party provider. Third-party providers often arrange to ship a fully functional phone to a student's home address before departure and provide instructions for students to ship the phone back after returning from study abroad. Please be aware that IES Abroad does not have an agreement with and does not endorse any third-party providers. Many study abroad families have found Skype to be a wonderful service for staying in touch. Skype is a free, internet-based communication provider. Please visit www.skype.com for more information. Please note that only personal computers may be used for internet-based calling. Lastly, in addition to requiring cellular phones, IES Abroad requires students to place an electronic independent travel itinerary through Travel Tracker and/or leave a handwritten independent travel itinerary form with staff at their center anytime they are away overnight. This itinerary provides necessary information in the event of an emergency when students need to be reached but mobile phones are not functioning. Your student will receive an instructional email message about Travel Tracker pre-departure, and center staff will discuss it in detail with students during orientation. Parents of past IES Abroad students indicate that setting a communication plan with their student prior to departure helps create a smoother transition for both parents and students. Higher mobile phone cost and time differences between home and the study abroad location make a diverse communication plan that includes instant messages, text messaging, depending on the plan and rate, social media updates, and Skype calls very practical. In addition to phone calls and conversations through Skype, students who maintain blogs and periodically post on such sites as Facebook are able to share pictures and anecdotes about their experiences. While internet access and housing varies, past parents and students have recommended Skype as a useful tool to help them stay in touch. Many parents and students find that their normal communication pattern changes during study abroad and may entail less regular phone contact. We recommend that students and their families plan a reasonable but flexible communication schedule before departure. Discussing a flexible and reasonable communication plan that is comfortable for both parents and student before departure can alleviate parent concerns and foster student growth and independence. For example, if a parent in New York City has a student studying in Paris and the student has a class break from 1 to 2 p.m., this is between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. in New York. Depending on the parent's schedule, this may be a convenient time to talk. It may be beneficial for the parent and student to discuss the student's typical day-to-day schedule once the student has begun classes. IES Abroad requires all of its students to have international health and evacuation insurance for the duration of their IES Abroad program and, to this end, offers a carefully considered plan for international student insurance. This plan is composed of 3 parts. Cultural Insurance Services International, CISI, Emergency Assistance, Evacuation, and Repatriation Coverage, International Accident and Sickness Insurance, and Security and Political Evacuation Services provided by AXA and IJET. CISI provides $100,000 each for security, emergency medical, and repatriation insurance for every student studying at an IES Abroad center. CISI assistance services include medical assistance, travel assistance, and technical assistance. Your student will need to purchase either the CISI plan or the local insurance plan specific to your student center. Students at the IES Abroad centers listed on the screen are required to be covered by the comprehensive insurance policy provided by CISI. Students do not need to purchase this plan themselves, as it is purchased for them by IES Abroad. The fee for this insurance will appear in your student's bill. Please also refer to your IES Abroad Student Handbook or the IES Abroad Family Guide for the limits of coverage for the CISI plan. Students at the IES Abroad centers listed on the screen are required to purchase the local insurance mandated by the government and/or university officials in their program location. For more information about these local insurance plans, please refer to the pre-departure guide for your student's program. Please also note that, regardless of whether students are covered under CISI or local insurance, they will receive an email before their program starts which describes how to print an insurance card and how to file claims and seek medical assistance for emergencies. In the event evacuation is necessitated by security or political factors, AXA and IJET, affiliates of CISI, will on a best effort basis assist students in arriving to a safe haven. If evacuation becomes impractical due to hostile or dangerous conditions, AXA and/or IJET will maintain contact with students and advise them until evacuation becomes viable or the emergency situation has passed. Please refer to the IES Abroad Student Handbook or IES Abroad Family Guide for the limits of coverage for these security and political evacuation services. A CISI summary defining all benefits and exclusions will be available to students online and distributed to them during orientation at the center. If you have further questions about insurance, please consult your student's IES Abroad Student Handbook or your IES Abroad Family Guide. Complete contact information for CISI is contained there as well. IES Abroad does not insure students' property while they are abroad. IES Abroad urges all students to purchase property insurance for the entire duration of their stay abroad. Despite students' best efforts to safeguard their property, it is still possible for belongings to be lost, stolen, or damaged during travel and study abroad. You should investigate your homeowner's insurance policy to verify that all items your student takes abroad will be covered by this policy. IES Abroad strongly recommends that you insure all items, especially those with high costs such as laptop computers, cameras, or other valuables. IES Abroad does not cover students for a personal liability, although centers in Germany, Japan, and some in Spain must enroll students in personal liability insurance that is required by local partner institutions as a condition of enrollment. Students in these locations can find more information about this coverage in their pre-departure information and during their on-site orientation. Students in all other locations may choose to be covered by their family's homeowner's insurance for personal liability as well, as it is customary in most other countries to cover accidents caused by an individual with this type of policy. If not covered, or if the deductible is high, then parents may wish to consider the optional property and liability insurance arranged through CISI at the link shown on the screen. IES Abroad encourages students and their families to explore multiple options and to select an insurance provider that best meets the student's individual needs.